opponents of the UN-backed government have voted against a motion of confidence in the Tripoli-based administration. 101 deputies attended the voting session, with 61 voting against the Government of National Accord, 39 abstaining and just 1 voting in favour. The vote is a fresh blow for the Government of National Accord, which has been seeking the Parliament's endorsement for months. GNA supporters had previously complained that opponents used physical force and threats to prevent the vote from taking place. The GNA was formed following a UN-mediated agreement signed in December. Its aim was to resolve the conflict that flared up in 2014 when an armed alliance took control of institutions in Tripoli and the newly elected parliament relocated to the east. Well, let's get some details and insights on this developing story from CCTV's Adel Mahroui. He's joining us live from Cairo. Adel, what more can you tell us about the outcome of the vote in Tobruk? What is the basis of that rejection?
Well, it definitely was a controversial vote. It's the first time that the Tobruk Parliament in the East managed to hold or to gather the legal amount, the legal number of members of Parliament together since January to finally put a vote forward. But the abstains, the 39 abstains were basically from members of Parliament who said that the vote was not on the agenda of today's session and they were on their way out of the hall once the vote started. But overall, one of the reasons seems to be that members of Parliament see that the cabinet list that has been provided by Faiz al-Sarraj, the president of the chief of the Presidential Council, and also the head of the Government of National Accord, they were not satisfied with the number of representation of ministries that the Eastern government has gained. One member said in a statement that first of all, they want to cancel the Ministry of Defense. They want that the parliament would be the supreme commander of the Libyan armed forces. So basically, it goes back to the same struggle of having General Khalifa Haftar, the leader of the Libyan National Army, who is supported by the Eastern government, and the differences over who to maintain a full control over the Libyan armed forces if the West and East joins together. So that's remained the main reason what clearly seems to be making the Government of National Accord now failing.
Well, Adel, what is the expected impact, though, of the Eastern Parliament's refusal to recognize the UN-backed unity government?
Well, definitely there might be some sanctions and political crisis towards that parliament. That parliament was once the internationally recognized parliament to Libya, but once the UN has backed Faiz al-Sarraj for the Government of National Accord, all Western powers have been supporting al-Sarraj and the Government of National Accord that the UN has finally formed. So that would mean that basically as these pressure comes from the East, the West might not be easily responding towards the Eastern demands politically. But at the same time, we've seen countries like France that was forced to stop participation or its presence, the military presence with the Eastern forces once the pressure started to come out from Tripoli and the Government of National Accord. So that might be in favor. Tripoli might get Western favor rather than the East. But we're talking about that the entire country has gone back to square one, where the Sukhairat agreement has now failed. There is no source of commonalities between both sides, and the Government of National Accord seems to be obviously getting no support from East.
Right, Adel Mahroui for us there in Cairo.